just briefly going over visits in ARIA, essentially. So firstly, what are visits and when are they created? So a visit maps directly to a service or a technology, where if at the access root level, you can choose, well, I think even a lower level, but you can choose how many machines get assigned to a service type. So it could be multiple machines or a single machine. And for every machine you select under that service, you get a session within that visit. So the visit is the service and the session is for the machine. Once the user has selected this, when creating the proposal, that visit gets created in ARIA in draft. So it's not visible yet, but it is nonetheless there. Once the user completes the proposal, the visit then gets put into a submitted status. So where to find the visit? So it depends whether or not the access root has put the technical review first or the scientific review. But essentially, when it gets to the stage of the technical review, whether it's first or the scientific review has been completed, it then comes up in the access dashboard where you need to evaluate the visit. And then the second image, we can see what the visit is actually made from. So the technical evaluation is the first step, and then you have the sessions for each machine, followed by access feedback as the last step. So we're just going to go through essentially the structure of a visit. So the technical evaluation, I think we've already spoken about that enough. Workflow. So this was touched on by Marcus. So it can be specified essentially exactly how you like, and then you can select the workflow per session if you'd like to do it multiple times. So we've got a sort of drag and drop feature where you can put bookings to start with, or maybe it's the second step, but essentially you can create this workflow for the session and then save it. And then there it appears essentially. So you need to go through each step to complete the session. So in this case, the booking was the first step. So then you have to go to the booking calendar to create a booking, as you can imagine. Again, Marcus touched on this, but with bookings, we now have machine outages we've had for a while. The new thing is machine outage types, which I think Marcus touched on, but so you can specify what type of outage it is, and therefore you can't book in those times. Another thing we have is expenditure. So once you've completed all the steps of the session, the usually second to last step is the session report, where you can put in, I forgot what it's called, something units of access, which I think you specify on the machine. You can also specify machine expenditure if there's other resources, expensive resources that were spent during the session on the machine. And these can be set up beforehand or on the session itself. These are also used for reporting. And then the last step of the session is the session feedback. So here is two different views, one from the user point of view. So this is from the user dashboard, where you've got the little blue box there. You can't see it too well, but essentially to the right of the session, when the session is complete, the user has to fill out. The user has to complete the session feedback. And then on the facility side, it's the last step of the session. Once both feedback is complete, the session is complete, and we move on to the next session if there is one. If there's not, then the visit is pretty much complete. We just need to do the last step, which is the access feedback. Again, this is what it looks like on the facility side and on the user side. And that's the presentation. It's very brief. Does anyone have any questions?